It's funny, Michael, because in the game of baseball, like you face certain guys enough, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter or whatever, and you have success against those guys, and you start to build a lot of confidence, right? And we see that in the majors, we see that at every level, where it's like you'll have a ton of success against a certain pitcher or you against a certain hitter, and you just kind of feel like you own them to an extent, for lack of a better way of putting it, and with the success you had against Clemson, like I'll ask you, did it get to a point again? You were a guy, you played with a ton of confidence, obviously, and I'm sure for you it was a nameless, faceless opponent, all that coach speak. But at the end of the day, both sides understand the importance to fans, just the overall rivalry, what it means. I mean, but with the success you had, like people look at you as the Tiger Killer, like you owned Clemson. Like, was there a moment for you in your own head where, like, going into that game, for example, you knew I'm getting the ball Friday, I'm going to shove because I own Clemson. Like I'm successful against Clemson. Like it's not a sense of like overconfidence, but it's more like you understand that quiet confidence, like knowing you've had a ton of success against those guys. Like, did that ever click for you where you're like, oh, it's Clemson, no big deal. I'm about to do my thing and we're gonna get the W and the rest is history.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was necessarily like specifically Clemson. I feel like that was kind of my thought for a lot of teams,
Right.
was like, hey, we're good enough. I think we thought we were good enough. Our team thought
Right.
we were good enough to play anybody and beat anybody. We may not have, kind of put that out there. We kind of always, we definitely did say, hey, these guys are a lot better than us on paper. We used to kind of play like the Joes. I think back to the dodgeball reference of the pros versus Joes.
Right.
And we kind of played that up a little bit, that we were like the underdog, even after we won the national championship. And I think, but again, internally, we all felt like we were capable. And I feel like that's, as a competitor, I think that's super important to feel that you don't necessarily need to broadcast that, but you have to believe that. And if you don't believe it, then there's, I think that impacts your play. And so I will say, specifically as it relates to Clemson, we did enjoy playing them because we did feel like we felt like they had this mental block against us. And because we beat them twice, and then we go back in 2011 and we played them handily, like we were on a roll, and we felt like that, that we were untouchable. It wasn't necessarily because of anything that they were doing. It was more because of what we were doing as a team. And so we definitely were, excited to play them and play anybody for that matter, but excited to go in there and compete against those guys and, kind of let us do our thing.